What is up, good people, and welcome to the All Basketball Podcast, where obviously we like to discuss basketball, but more so debate basketball. And I'm your host, Maurice. This time there won't be much debate, just be my opinion pretty much coming from this time around on this show, my opinion on the NBA playoffs so far, the two series as far as the East and the West. Last night, September 24th, the Lakers went up 3-1 over the Nuggets in that series, and I want to talk about that one first and then kind of preview and talk about Game 4 from the Miami-Boston series here in the East. So last night, the Lakers hold off the Nuggets for a 114-108 win. You had a lot of good action, but the little things just killed the Nuggets. I'm obviously going for the Nuggets. Not a LeBron James fan, never been. Nothing personal, just certain players you root for, certain players you root against. He's just one of those guys I root against. It's nothing personal. But the Lakers started well. Anthony Davis did his first 7 shots, and I could just tell from that it was going to be an uphill battle for the whole time for the Nuggets, and it clearly was. They trailed, they came back to a certain extent, got close. The Lakers pulled away. It was kind of like a push and pull or a tug of war type thing going on, and the Nuggets could just never get over the hump, despite all the great things Jamal Murray did, tough shots from all parts of the court, making a ridiculous left-handed hanging shot when he thought he was just before his feet touched the floor. Just crazy offhand shot. Then he had another tough floater type shot, hanging shot. And then the one that trumped them all was the MJ-like up and under. He got to go in around LeBron, who is a very credible, you got to respect him as a shot blocker. For him to get that going, and just to waste Murray's effort. Heck of a game by him. But Anthony Davis matched him, like I said. He hit his first 7 shots, went on to score a game high 34, as opposed to Murray's, just edging out Murray's 32. Maybe the key thing was to Murray didn't make a 3. 0 for 3 from out there, but neither team shot well from the perimeter. But some things that disturbed me about this game, they kind of hurt the Nuggets for one, helped the Lakers, was how Dwight Howard's energy and effort, him being put to the starting lineup. Dude had like 8 points and 8 rebounds in the first quarter. He ended up having 11 rebounds total, and that was key because maybe that gave the rest of the supporting players the confidence they needed, or it just showed that, because if this was in a traditional arena, the Nuggets would have been the home team at the Pepsi Center, I think it's called, and crowd would have been loud. You would have had the altitude factor in effect, but it was none of that since it's in the bubble. But somebody has to step up on the road when you're talking about winning these playoff series, somebody other than the starters, and Dwight Howard was that guy. Caldwell Pope had it, came on later. Kuzma made a good amount of shots despite some bad defense against Porter Jr. And Rondo was huge, I want to say, with about almost 10 assists. Let me check that real quick. Yes, 7 assists. And the rebounding just helped the Lakers so much. And for them to win that battle and win the second chance points battle 25-6, that's very key. Yeah, Denver held them on at 50% shooting, but like Kenny Smith and other analysts and other coaches probably always say, defense just doesn't end because your opponent missed a shot. Securing a rebound, that's part of the defense too. And the Nuggets just could not do that, whether it was Howard on the boards, maybe Anthony Davis grabbing an offensive rebound here and there, LeBron, or even Rondo, who had a really huge rebound there at the end when the Nuggets needed the ball and maybe they come down, take the lead, I can't remember for sure, or score, or just tie the game up or get closer. Just big momentum swings. You give a great team like the Lakers second and third chances. And just for them being, the fact them being NBA players, professionals, more than likely, the more chances you give that team, the more than likely one of those shots is going to go in. That's pretty much what happened. It's just tough that Denver just struggled on the boards like that because just precious possessions. You can't give them away at this time of year, especially in the West Finals. You cannot give them away, especially when you're somewhat up against the refs as well. I mean, LeBron James and Anthony Davis both took 14 free throws apiece. LA went to the line more. Maybe Denver was fouling obviously more. I know Jokic and Millsap were in foul trouble. When Anthony Davis turned his ankle, that was a bogus call against Millsap. Anthony Davis just turned his own ankle. Millsap didn't even invade his shooting space, but another foul on the Nuggets. Then for just stuff like that. And then for LA to complain about LeBron not getting enough free throws so far this series in the first 3 games. I think it was somewhere around 10. And so this game he comes out and gets 14 and he makes 11 of them. So give him credit for taking advantage of that because he's more in the 50 to 60, sometimes 60 to 70% range when it comes to knocking down free throws. He's gotten worse as he's gotten older. But for them to complain about the league and then that to happen, that's just a bad look. I mean, people want the game to be as what they're watching is as credible, so to speak, as possible, or it's not being tampered with. And I'm not saying it was, but for just a discrepancy like that, for them to say something and then this guy gets a good amount of free throws and then you don't call a couple of clear outs and lowering up his shoulder, which he's been doing his whole career, on him. He doesn't rack up any offensive fouls like that. Then you take away the potential 3-point play that would have been key for Murray. You take that away, even though I think they scored later, so it was kind of a null point. But then the one where on the replay you saw LeBron clearly slap Murray's hand. Yeah, he was there in the play, and for them to miss that call and you would give LeBron questionable calls or the benefit of the doubt, and Anthony Davis on the other end, just not a good look. But like most of the time, stars somewhat run the league. They drive ratings. There are such things as superstar calls. Hey, LeBron's a superstar. Anthony Davis is a superstar. It's always going to go in their favor, just like it went in the favor of Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, whoever you want to mention. But just a bad way for a team that's not rebounding and not rebounding well, doesn't already play great defense. Just a bad break for them. And now they're down 3-1, which they've been down to the Jazz and Clippers respectively in the first 2 rounds. When they beat the Clippers, they became the first team ever to overcome 2 3-1 deficits in the NBA playoffs. So we'll see how this one goes. It doesn't seem like the buzz or the belief is there that they can do it a third time. Everybody's just saying the luck's going to run out a third time, so to speak, won't be a charm. And now they just got to win. Just got to take it one game at a time. Yeah, it sounds cliche. Usually hear that a lot, but It's just one game at a time, just like against the other two teams. And maybe you can push it to, maybe you can extend this series. But and Jokic is gonna have to be more aggressive. Maybe he wasn't, probably was some foul trouble earlier. Dwight Howard just out there playing wild. I mean, he knows he's only probably going to play so long, so he's playing wild and he's pushing and doing little dirty things, or just trying to be a bully out there. And maybe it got to Jokic, or maybe because he didn't want to pick up fouls, that took away from his aggression. But one thing with him, when he has Caruso on him on a switch, whoever Caldwell Pope, you got to abuse that matchup. Don't I know he's a great passer, but take the almost guaranteed 2 points, especially if you're deep in the lane or free throw line. Go ahead and get the 2 points. Stop trying to look for other guys, because we know Murray's gonna do his thing. Grant's proven he can help out. So is Morris, and so is Porter Jr. But man, where is Gary Harris? You gotta give him something, because Plumlee just, ever since that miscue he had in game 2, not sticking with Anthony Davis, he really hasn't been as impactful as I hope this series to be able to match the Lakers' size, because he's a pretty good shot blocker, strong finisher at the rim, but he's just not doing those things. And my homeboy, shout out to Ant, he's just pushing for them to give Bol a chance. Maybe too late now, but since the series is about to be 5 games in, but maybe you should give him a different look. I mean, if he gets embarrassed in a few minutes or the Nuggets start falling behind, then hey, just take him back out. But just to give him a different look, because Anthony Davis is cooking any and everybody right now, especially by coming out making those first 7 shots. I mean, that was key to get the Lakers going, and then for everybody else to add to that, jump in and just build off that hot start, that confident moment. And then, LeBron is going to do what he does. He made some good passes, cut to the basket, wasn't just trying to do it all on his own. They just got to watch out for stuff like that. But we'll see if Denver has anything left in the tank to push this series, which I hope they do. I didn't think they would win this series, but I didn't think they would win the last one. So you obviously never know. But either way, it was a good run. But I hope tomorrow night, Saturday night on TNT, they extend this series, and Jokic and Murray come with it, come full of energy and just ready to stick it to the Lakers and somebody else. It's going to take a collective effort. So with that series being 3-1, we also have the East Finals at a 3-1 as far as that series is going as well. You have Miami up 3-1, and a hero came along, folks, with the shooting to carry Miami to a 3-1 lead. Sorry about that. That's what came to mind, all these, because of Tyler Herro's name, with the popular song from the 90s by Mariah Carey called Hero. Just had to do that, but hey. But dude, Tyler Herro, a lot of teams may have missed out, him being the 13th pick in last year's draft. But him getting this experience right now is big. Him dropping 37 and 17 in the fourth quarter of that game 4. I mean, he was giving it to Jaylen Brown, whoever was on him, all types of ways. I mean, deep threes, off the catch, hesitation moves, but he just wasn't settling for that. He's just not a shooter. He has a tight handle, great hesitation moves to make you think he's going to shoot, and then he's going to the basket to finish creatively. Almost like not at the same level, but close to fellow UK alum, Kentucky alum, Jamal Murray, the way he's finishing around the basket with either hand. I mean, just some really creative finishes. But Herro, he was on the Slam. He was on the Slam magazine earlier this year. It was titled Heat Wave. One of the editions that came out with Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. And you kind of look at it and say, okay, maybe Jimmy Butler was like, this guy has to be on the cover. I won't do it. You all the time you hear about things like that. But now he's showing you why he deserved that Slam cover, and probably will get a few more, barring any crazy injury or just some huge fall off. But in this era of basketball, I don't, and the way he's able to play and guys are not being able to hand check him, I really don't see that happening. But and hopefully the Bam Adebayo, I heard him say he was good to go. He was messing with his left wrist, left arm. Something happened with him there, but hopefully that's good to go. I want Miami. I wasn't sure about the Heat at first when it came to this series because I thought they were just a really bad matchup for the Bucks, and then kind of like, okay, maybe for this team, similar to how Golden State back in '07 was a bad matchup for the Mavericks, who were the 1 seed, and they had beaten 3 out of 4 times during the regular season, and then playoffs come, same thing. Golden State, Baron Davis, Steven Jackson, Al Harrington, Jason Richardson. They're just Matt Barnes, Coach Don Nelson just got them wide open, shoot the three. Pretty much almost playing street ball, it seemed like, because they were such a bad matchup, and they eliminated the Mavericks, and then play Utah in the next round. A few things didn't go their way. I think they got beat in 6 games, but even though the Heat had Indiana first, I thought this was going to be something like that maybe. And Boston has more talent in a way. Jason Tatum is a very talented basketball player. I really like the way he goes about playing the game. But Miami's defense, a lot of people talk about the toughness, Adebayo protecting the rim, throwing anything down that's above the rim, which you definitely got to respect, alley-oops, and just their defensive mentality, that Miami Mafia mentality people talk about, that Miami culture, starting at the top or near the top with Pat Riley and sprinkling on down in their organization is just working. They're playing good D, and I really hope if they don't close the series out tonight, the game will be on ESPN. Hopefully close it out in 6. Don't let it go to 7, because they're obviously the better team. And I think if the Lakers knock off the Nuggets, then Miami would be the best challenge for the Lakers, the most likely opponent to maybe upset them. I mean, LeBron used to play there. He had to play against one of his old organizations, former coach, and they know his weaknesses. They know his weaknesses, and for storylines and how this thing can kind of come full circle, and just the way Miami's playing, that they have an effective zone. Nobody's scared. Jimmy Butler is just a tough player, self-made, quote unquote, however you want to put it, to an extent. Nobody expected him to be. He wasn't projected to be where he is now. So just them having that toughness and that whole LA with the LA is kind of Miami's a nice town too. Definitely beautiful weather, just like LA, but the personality of the two teams is somewhat different. But you do have a lot of experience on both sides, championship experience with LeBron and Rondo, J.R. Smith, if he does play. Then on Miami side, you have Iguodala and most of the guys on the sideline, the coaching staff, Pat Riley, they all have championship experience. So I think it'll make for a great matchup. But getting back to tonight, Game 5, Boston and Miami. Boston's probably going to definitely try to come out better. Maybe even go ahead like they've been doing a lot, but we'll see if they have what it takes to hold the lead. And Tatum probably is going to have a better start, even though he finished with all 28 of his points in the second half. Very, very impressive. Jason Tatum, he got some serious game, even though he went to Duke. You know, I'm not the type of person to hold grudges once guys leave Duke. Because I'm a big Carolina fan, but once they leave Duke, if I don't like them from the start, I just don't like them. But now that he's in the NBA, I mean, the Duke things in the past, I mean, he's one of the players who I do enjoy watching. And Kemba Walker's going to have to step up. He's been inconsistent. They got Hayward back. We'll see if he provides more offense, and we'll see what kind of game Marcus Smart has. He's one of those guys. Every time he puts up a shot, I'm thinking it's probably not going in. I know dude's an NBA player. He works hard at his craft, but just never really been impressed with him offensively. Now defensively, that's a different story. But and as far as the Miami side, I think maybe Jimmy Butler may want to be a little more aggressive early on, but he kind of picks his spot. But when they need something done, whether it's on defense or offense, Duke gets it done. And you definitely can trust him in the clutch. And we'll see what type of game Tyler Herro comes back with, because 37 this game, hey, Brad Stevens and staff, players, they're going to be targeting you. We're going to have to give you some different looks or something. Double teams may come, but the Heat, everybody shoots so well. Crowder, especially Duncan Robinson, Dragic has been hitting it, Butler. But we're going to see what kind of looks they give Herro, because they're not going to let him. The plan won't be to let him scorch them again and eliminate them from the playoffs. So we'll see how they adjust and how he adjusts to their adjustments. But it should be a pretty good game, like they've all been. The teams, total points, the teams are matched up. They're dead even. I think it's 441 to 441. But I'll be tuning in. Expect it to be a pretty good game. I won't be as probably upset as if Miami loses as I was. I wasn't upset that Denver lost last night, but when I found out discovered some things about LA complaining about fouls and then just not being an LA fan, it was kind of like, it's not right. It's just, but it won't be anything like that with this series. But I do want Miami to win. Not much other coaching NBA news out there. You got rumors as usual, maybe Mike D'Antoni going to Philadelphia. Be interesting, but like I heard, I think it was on, I forgot where I heard it at, but I definitely heard it on something I was listening to. Why does everybody keep going after Mike D'Antoni? I think it was around the horn. He hasn't won anything. He hasn't even gotten to the finals yet. He's been instrumental in the progression and the change of the way basketball is played, especially this era, and especially how Houston plays with the three-pointers and layups game plan. But I don't know how. I mean, and then they're talking about they get him, then James Harden going there, but I don't see how James Harden works with maybe Ben Simmons, especially if Ben Simmons isn't going to shoot jumpers, but because Westbrook at least shoots jumpers, but maybe the fact that he just attacks the paint. I mean, maybe that will work, but then it'll be whether they keep him beat as well. D'Antoni, he believes the post up back to the basket game is the worst play in basketball. So maybe there'll be some changes if Philly goes that way. A lot of people are recommending they go out to Tyronn Lue. Haven't heard anything on that front, but there's still a few jobs opens. That Philly job, the Pelicans job, the Oklahoma City job, and Chicago's was open, but they just hired Billy Donovan. I've heard one contrary opinion that they didn't like the hiring, but I think it's okay. Chicago has some young talent. Kobe White out of North Carolina, he definitely had a good season last year for most part. Zach LaVine can score. I mean, the verdict is still out on some of those other guys. Wendell Carter Jr. always injured. Lauri Markkanen, I like when I was introduced to his game, I liked it. Big stretch four type guy. Maybe play something like Nowitzki. I definitely kind of like what I saw at Arizona, but as far as the NBA, it really hasn't translated. But so the verdict's still out on him. And I don't know who I'm leaving off on the roster. But those are some of the main guys. But a young team, I mean, Billy Donovan proved what he could do with OKC after Durant and Westbrook left. And just the season they had last year, with even though he had a veteran point guard and Chris Paul, for them to push the Rockets to 7 games and for them to get the seeding they got after everyone just, even myself, just ruled them out. Oh, this is going to be an open spot in the West. But Oklahoma City stayed alive, makes the playoffs again. I don't know what their streak is, but it's got to be a pretty good one right now, because for a while, since even before they went to the finals in 12, because Durant was, 16. They lost the 3-1 lead to the Warriors, and then he left. 17, Westbrook that season won the MVP. First round bounced, and another first round bounce the next year when he had Paul George. And then just recently, two first round bounces, then he got Paul George. So he got to the playoffs. So, and then them recently just making the run they made. And so, yeah, I think this would be a good proving moment for Donovan, because he came in with two great players in Durant and Westbrook. Now he kind of has a young team. Maybe guys would be more prone to listen because he has NBA experience and he has success under his belt. And so you got mostly young guys there, and maybe he can implement the style he wants to, and we can see more of what his coaching is all about now with the young team, unless they pull off something and get him a really good veteran over there. But we'll see how the other positions, those other open jobs fill up, who fills them, discuss that at a later time. But in advance, folks, I thank you all for listening. I'm going to call it here. That's my time. Once again, I'm your host, Maurice Dixon, and thank you for listening to the All Basketball Podcast. Next time it could be some guys on here, it could just be me giving instant reaction, but just want to get some more content out there. But thank you for listening in advance. You can find this podcast on Anchor, Spotify, Stitcher, Google, Apple, or any platform where you listen to podcasts. So stay healthy, peace, and be blessed in Jesus' name. Until next time.